Hey, what's up, guys? This is Chris from the House of Jordans podcast on the Bench Clear Media Network. We have a very special episode for you guys this week. We're departing from our normal House of Jordans format for this week only to bring you an exclusive interview that Kristina did with Tyson Beck, discussing Project 2020, sports card design, and much more. If you like what you hear, you should go on over to our YouTube channel and subscribe, because we've got plenty more Kristina's Corner interviews where that came from. So sit back, enjoy this interview, and make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, because we're closing in on 1,000 subscribers. And when we get to that, anybody who has subscribed to us and left a comment on one of our videos is eligible to win our giveaway of a 2018-19 Prism Cello box. All right, enjoy the interview, and we will be back to the normal House of Jordans format next week.
Welcome to Kristina's Corner. I'm here with a man who needs no introduction in the hobby, Mr. Tyson Beck. So Tyson, first off, let me say hello. Let me say thank you so much for taking the time today to sit down with me and discuss all of your great work in the hobby, as well as some of your art aspects that we'll get into in a little bit. So let me kick it off. You collect hobby cards.
Firstly, thanks for the nice introduction, Kristina. Yeah, glad to be on, happy to be on, and very fortunate to speak to you as well. Yeah, I collect, I used to collect cards when I was younger, just heaps of basketball cards. And also AFL trading cards. You wouldn't probably know of them, but they're just a sport in Australia. So I collected a lot of that, which is like football sort of thing, football, Aussie rules. But NBA, huge, collected. I've still got thousands of trading cards. I never threw them out. They're just in a box in my garage. I never got any Jordan cards because I only started collecting in. Actually, no, sorry, I do. I got a Jordan Wizards card, but I don't have any Jordan Bulls cards. I started collecting in 1999, and I definitely fell out collecting once I probably hit 18, 20 years old. And then recently, now that I'm doing more work in the card industry, I've kind of found myself collecting cards again.
Sweet. And who is predominantly your PC, your personal collection person? Do you have one?
No, I don't. Nah. When I grew up, I think that's kind of a large reason why I kind of got pushed into like art and design, because literally I just collected cards because I like the look of them. So I never had. I would like say there'd be like a the 2001. I'd be like, oh, these look really nice. Well, I'm just trying to collect every player of that. So I don't have one particular player I collect at all. With everything that I've kept, I actually looked back at it recently, and it's just like a whole wide range of players. I never collect one player.
I like it. Okay. And do you have a favorite card or set of your collection that really speaks to you, or you always go back to?
My favorite card was I'm not sure what year it is because I don't have it on me, but my favorite card is Tracy McGrady. It's like a game worn all-star jersey or all-star warm-up jersey patch. And the only reason that's my favorite was because like I'd buy packs all the time and I'd never get anything good out of it. Like I'd never get anything special. And then that was the first one. I was just like, holy crap! Like there's a jersey like patch thing. Like, oh, it's from the All-Star weekend. This is nuts. So for me, that's my favorite card still, just because I remember that moment of getting it, and like it's literally like I was running around the house like going like, oh, this is worth like $100 probably. I don't know what it was worth, but like I was going, yeah, I think it was just that moment, and for me that's still special. So that's my favorite trading card ever.
Nice. I think everyone in the hobby can relate to that feeling of pulling like a card and being like, oh my God, and getting super stoked about it.
Yeah, like I wasn't chasing a Tracy McGrady card. I think it was just like I was just waiting for that first good card to pop out of a pack, and that was the first one.
Nice. So regarding your work with the industry and Top specifically, how did you get involved with Top Project 2020? I know you also designed for them other sets, but particularly Topps 2020.
So how I got involved with Topps 2020, I was actually in New York, in where their office is, and I was coming in to meet some of the staff that I work with the Topps Fire brand that I work on, and I literally was just doing a tour of the office and bumped into someone there, and they said, I've worked with him before at Topps, and he said, we've got this really cool project that's coming in, next year. This was in November 2019. And he said, we'd love to, speak to you about this project that's coming up. And I said, yeah, like I'm always for it. Let me know. We couldn't find a time to do it while I was in New York because I was pretty rushed there. But yeah, I came back once I flew all the way back to Australia, set up a phone call, and got given all the details to it, and I was just like, I was blown away because I knew like it would be a big thing because from my understanding, this hasn't been done before. I mean, it may have, but I just haven't seen it. But yeah, like I said, from my understanding, it's something new, something fresh, and I knew that like some people wouldn't like it at the start, and it would take people time to grow into it, but it's for what it's now at, like 45 cards or something deep. Like I think people have now, it's grown on to people, and people are now understanding like, oh, okay, like, there's actually a purpose and desire here to collect these cards from these different artists because, a particular person might hate my work and they might hate 18 other people's. But if there's just one artists that they relate to in that set, well then that's great, they can go collect their cards. So I think that's the cool thing, because usually like if a trading card set comes out, like you probably either like or dislike the design, but with this it's 20 different ones, so surely there's something out there for every collector, and even if it's just one artist like I mentioned, that's great, you can just go collect that. If there's a bunch of artists or you just want to collect all the artists of one player, that's cool. So I think there's just so many different ways you can collect in this series. And yeah, super like humble and of the opportunity. And it was just kind of like a spirit moment walking, bumped into someone in the office and they were just like, yeah, we want you to kind of work on this project. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's awesome. Are you excited about a particular card?
I don't know, like, so for me, like, I'm a basketball guy. Like, I got to be real here. So, like, I would literally, like, if I could do a basketball set, like, I'd literally start crying probably. Like, but I know that's not realistic because Topps don't hold the license to it. So there's nothing like that there's not like a player that like would be like a childhood hero of mine or anything because baseball was never shown on TV in Australia growing up. So. But for me, if I had to pick a player, it would probably just be Derek Jeter or Mike Trout, just because it seems to be like, I guess, what the collectors are gravitating towards. So I think that's kind of good in my sense because I feel like there's a bit of pressure to make a good card for those, because if you slip up on those, then people will probably be angry. But I think, yeah, Jeter and Trout, just because of the popularity surrounding them. And obviously, like, I've heard of like nearly all of the baseball players, but it's just like I never was like, none of them was a childhood hero to mine. So I can't really kind of, it's not like, like a Kobe or, something in a basketball set. So, yeah.
Yes. Totally understand. I'm not a baseball card collector at all.
Okay.
But I will admit, like, I have purchased, I believe, 5 or 6 now of the Project 20.
Oh, yeah.
Because every day, as soon as they go live, I'm on that website checking, and I'm like, okay, who's out today? And I have this very long spreadsheet that I'm keeping the analytics of, like, how many cards are being sold, when they're coming out,
Wow.
paired with. So, like, is that impacting the sales? House of Jordans is very like card market heavy.
Yeah.
So I'm bringing that same focus to
so many factors going into print runs from my understanding. Like, I guess it depends about the player, but then it also depends on like who you're paired up with on that day, because if you're paired up with like I mentioned, a Trout or GD, you're probably going to sell more because people are going to purchase the 2-pack bundles.
Right.
And then also if you get like because it only runs Monday to Friday, it doesn't run on weekends. So if you get like a Friday drop, that's kind of good, because then you've got your card and paired with the other artist. You're not competing with anyone else on Saturday for the 48-hour window. And the same with Monday. I guess if you get a Monday drop, then you've got your own window that no other cards there. Whereas if you get a Tuesday to Thursday one, you're sharing that 48-hour window with a card either way, if that makes sense. So I think there's a lot of timing, but there's nothing like scheduled in. I think Topps is doing a great idea of keeping people guessing, because you don't know what's coming out. No. And to me, that's cool. And I know some people might be getting frustrated, but like at the end of the day, like people are now checking the site every day. And I think that's a good thing for Topps, because like there's not like, oh, okay, a Trout comes out on the 14th of May. Oh, I'm not going to look at Top. You got to look every day to see what's out. So I think it's good marketing. It's a good idea they're doing.
Yeah. And then you have card collectors like me, who I'm on there not collecting a player or an artist, but like I'm totally looking at just the design, and I'm like, do I need this in my PC? So it's definitely hitting a very broad range of collectors, which is cool.
And that's cool to hear that, because like I mentioned before, that's how I started gravitating towards cards. I just liked the design of them. I just liked because outside of like magazine posters, which was huge. I don't know if you used to get like Slam magazine pull out like posters from that. I used to be huge on that.
Okay.
So they'd always have like a Slam of the month or whatever they called it. And that was cool to kind of pull out that. But outside of like the Slam posters, it was like there was no printed material in Australia, so it was like trading cards was like the only thing you could kind of lean towards. And I must have had some kind of connection with creativity, design, art, whatever you want to call it, when I was younger, because I literally did gravitate towards the cards that I thought looked nice.
So will you walk us through your process for the reimagining of your Project 2020 cards? Like, so you get the card. I assume Top sent you all 20 of the cards, or at least pictures.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you get it, and then what happens?
Okay, so I've got all 20. Just like it's like a scan version of the original, and basically there's no rules. They just do whatever you want to do. So I mean, that's cool. That's the best client to have as an artist. But they give us a schedule of like I think 3 to 5 cards at a time, and dates we got to hit to create it by. So like I haven't done all 20. You know, I've only worked on a handful at the moment, but I've got all the cards sitting there, but they'll give me the dates to work on. So, you know, I've got George Brett coming up, and I've got Gibson coming up. I can't remember the third one coming up, but so they're my next 2 that should be coming out. Jackie Robinson. But yeah, so I don't have like my Trout and Jeter will probably be late in the set. So I'll get to that when it comes out. But in terms of like making it, it's literally just free range. There's literally not any direction. And for me, that's cool. It's literally we just create something, send it back to them, and I'm assuming they get it approved by the MLB or something. But there hasn't been any issues. There's been no back and forth so far on any card. So yeah, it is really cool. And I guess that's what they're trying to do, is trying to make it like as much as the artist, like it's their card sort of thing. Like they don't want to kind of, you know, put their feet and put their, mess with what the artist's ideas and creativity is. But, yeah, it's really nice project. But the fact that we only have like 1 card dropping every 2 weeks, it gives us an amazing amount of time to work on these cards, because I'm so used to kind of like doing card projects where it's like I do like 200 trading cards or something, and they're all templated, and you got to do them like maybe over a quick amount of time. But this is nice. It's like you've got like literally 3 weeks to work on a card, so you can actually devote all your time into making something look really nice. You don't have to rush it, and that's pretty cool to me.
Yeah. And what about your artistic process? So what goes through your mind when you see this card and you're like, okay, I have my Gibson coming up. You're like looking at the card.
So for me, it ultimately, I don't want to stray too far from the original card. I want to pay homage to the original card, because at the end of the day, the collectors, these cards are iconic. They were chosen for a reason. So I don't want to kind of recreate something brand new. I kind of want to just, for me, I'm calling it more remixing. I'm remixing these cards. I'm not recreating them. And I think that's key for me. Other artists are totally remaking them, and other ones are similarly remixing them or just putting their style on the current template. So for me, I just thought, like, I want, you could hold the original up and then hold mine up next to it, and it'll be, it'll look like the same card, but just done in a different way, different style. So for how I'm doing it, all my 20 are going to sit as a family. They're going to sit as a consistent theme. So if you got all 20 of my cards, they're going to flow. They're going to have a generic style to them that merged together. So that style is, I was literally just thinking of these cards, and I was like, it took me back to like school, where what I would do, I'd just sketch and just draw and play around on my notepad. So I was thinking like this style of like, basically just like scrapbooking. So it's like, imagine like a kid at school, just scrapbooking, trying to recreate these cards. So, ripping out elements, putting little, stickers on, little, pieces of paper, and basically turning it into like a scrapbook collage. So every one of these cards was literally just going to be a scrapbook collage style of the original card. So for me, like I've done that kind of style in the past with my work, but I don't have like a distinctive style. My style is forever evolving and changing. So I think this one perfectly fit the project, because we are talking about old cards, and for me, we're talking about cards in the late 80s or early 90s. And like early 90s, I was in school, so it's like, what would I be doing with these cards? I remember drawing basketball cards and playing around with them. So I was like, scrapbooking, that for me, that's personal. So that's me.
Yeah, I really love the design of your cards for Project 2020 for sure. And I will say that though I don't collect baseball, if I did, the one set I would collect would be the Topps Fire, because those those cards are beautiful. Like
that's really cool to hear. Yeah. I mean, I started off doing football ones. Mm-hmm. I've actually got some. Where is that? There's actually a whole.
Oh wow!
You can see. There's like literally heaps. Like, yeah, it's just my room sort of thing. Office. I've actually got heaps of spares just sitting around. But that started in 2014, and I started with NFL. So it was Topps Fire football. And for me, they just literally reached out to me on Instagram. So they just saw my work and were just like, do some trading cards. And they were just thinking of me doing an insert, like, 15 cards or something. They were like, how about we just get you to do the entire set and then just kind of have it as your offset brand. And that was kind of cool. Like, it was literally just like a dream come true. It was just like, I'm not creating one trading card. I'm creating a whole set, including the packaging, everything. So Topps Fire was great. There were still huge limitations on what we could do, because like, we called it Topps Fire, but then like the NFL wouldn't allow us to store any jerseys. So we were thinking of having like, jerseys on fire and ripping and all this, but it was just like all that had to get taken back. But it was cool because Topps were interested if my work could transfer. Like, it looks great on a computer, because I was like doing heaps of wallpapers back then. So it was like, it looks good, big, but how does it transfer to something small? And I definitely, like, I was on card forums. I've read stuff on social media. Like, I just like to get feedback over the time. And I've done, probably at least 15 sets now. Now I'm only doing inserts. I'm not doing like the Topps baseball now, fire. I'm not doing the whole sets, I'm doing inserts, which is cool. I can focus on a smaller run. But for me, it's funny because like I would like get on Facebook when it like, and Topps warned me, they're like, don't look at social media, don't go on forums when your first cards drop. And I was like, nah, I'm going to do it because it's like and yeah, like I saw huge negative stuff, people saying, you know, this is trash, like you're ruining the card industry, all this. But for me, I thought, nah, this is a good thing because that means we're providing something different and it's out of the norm. And this is what we wanted to provide. Like I'm so used to like, especially baseball cards, like they're just so conservative. They're so like, you know, well, to me, they're boring, like because they're so conservative and traditional. So I like stuff that's a little bit different. And from what my understanding, I don't have the numbers or anything, but Topps said like the Topps Fire brand was crazy popular with like kids. Like the sales were like really, really good with the younger generation. And that was the whole reason to do this. We weren't trying to market this for 40 plus, you know, the people that have been collecting cards for 40 plus years. We're trying to market this to the new age of, trading card collectors and try and get people that probably are used to seeing these cool graphics on social media or designs, edits, whatever you want to call them, and then see those now on trading cards and go, oh, I'm going to start collecting. And as soon as you start getting a few kids, like, you know, everything, like as soon as you start seeing a few kids, like if you go to school and then the popular kids got these trading cards, then everyone's going to gravitate and do it. So I guess it was just more so getting a product out there that was more targeted for children and the younger teenagers and stuff like that, rather than the traditional collectors. And but yeah, like for me, that was cool because that's the stuff that I'm into. And I'm more than happy to read through all the negative shit that gets talked about my work online because at the end of the day, it doesn't bother me. I'm a bit thick-skinned after working with Topps for a while.
Oh, that's good. The hobby can be filled with, unfortunately, filled with negative voices at times. So, so I'm glad you pay no heed to it because, like I said, those sets are beautiful. I really enjoy them, and I think it's cool that you sign your cards now.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. So we did some signings on like we did wall prints and stuff, fine art prints, I think they called them. So we signed those like probably like 5 years ago, but never trading cards. But yeah, now they just send out a bunch of trading cards to me that I sign. And for me, like Topps is still like arguably my best client or my favorite client because like at the end of the day, it's like what other client do I have that allows me to have my name on my work and my signature? Like there's none. Like, and I'm so used to having my name hidden away as a creative on my work. And they're like, this wasn't me approaching them with the idea. They literally came up with the idea saying like, we want you to sign cards and put your name on it and put your logo on there and have a bio about you on the back of your card. Like, you know, I can't say the same thing about other clients. Like it's literally like, yeah, it's a bit of a game changer. So it's definitely changed my, it's changed my mindset in terms of like, trying to grow my personal brand and trying to actually get my name more out there rather than doing all this work and just posting it myself on social media. But then actually when the client puts it out, like my name's nowhere on it or anything. So for me, I'm definitely trying to align more with like brand collaborations. And I have done a lot recently, but I think Topps definitely put that fuel to my fire where it's like, no, I gotta start having my name and I gotta get some credit for my work rather than just kind of being hidden away doing this work.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I think that set is, and your work on that set is probably the prettiest cards I've seen since the iconic late 90s inserts of yeah. So I hold you up there with arena design. So
that's very warming to hear that. I mean, it's great. Anytime I can get positive feedback, I love it. Negative feedback, it's like, yeah, whatever. Like it's just not for you. But like the positive feedback, it doesn't come in herds. So I mean, if I definitely hear it, that's amazing. I love it. All
right. So let's transition over to your art and what you do professionally with pretty much like every large brand. I think it would be fair to name brands you don't work with or haven't worked with in the past than it would be to run through the list of brands that you've worked with.
Yeah.
So congratulations. Like I said, you are legends.
It's showing my age, though. It's showing my age. I'm starting to get old.
No, not at all. Not at all. So what was your first artistic aspiration?
Honestly, it was just my first aspiration was just to make people happy, because like what first started with me was like I was on forums. I don't know if you remember like the forums of like mixmakers.net. That was like a big basketball forum back in the day. I don't know.
I will be honest. I'm from a very small state in the U.S. where we only, like, when we say like, oh, I'm watching basketball, we mean the women's college team.
Okay.
Yeah. So like I'm from Connecticut, so like UConn Huskies, like it's all about the girls.
That's huge there. Yeah.
So I was never an NBA fan until later in life, because when you watched women on TV, like when you watch basketball on TV, it was always the UConn women. So yeah, so I missed all of that.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and I was very much into soccer and watching like the MLS like become large in the US and continuing to grow. Football.
I know. Yeah, soccer we call it, I think.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I don't know. It's a bit weird. You offend some people if you call it soccer, but I think it's called soccer in Australia. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So I got into the NBA late, and then I started collecting myself in 2016.
Super late. Yeah. Right. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, anyway, so what do you play or listen to when you're working in your studio office time?
Oh, sorry, what was that? What
do you play? Like what's on your playlist, or what do you listen to? Do you listen to stuff?
A lot of, so when the NBA season's going, I literally just have league pass on. We've got international league pass. So like I literally just bounce around whatever fourth quarter's on.
Okay.
Like I'm a Lakers fan, so I try to watch all the Laker games. You know, over the last like 20 years, I've definitely watched 99% of them. But I'll try and because they're on at a good time here. Laker home games start at about 2 p.m. here in the afternoon, so it's an amazing time. Like, especially if you're working from home, like literally you just chuck it on, and yeah, you don't have to worry about like, you know, because I know the East Coast people have to stay up really late to watch a Lakers game, and we don't have that issue. Yeah, so I'll just have league pass and I'll just bounce around the fourth quarters. League pass is just amazing. Like literally, there's always a good game on. So, but when there's obviously, the NBA games run from like 10:30 a.m. to about 4:30 p.m. here. So that pretty much covers my working day. But outside of that, I'll definitely have just Netflix on, put documentaries on. But I don't really kind of watch. I don't watch movies. I literally am not a movie guy. I don't watch any movies. The only movies I watch are like old school, like Adam Sandler films. I don't really know why, but they're just, I don't know. I like them.
What's your favorite Adam Sandler film?
Oh man, dude, there's literally like 8 films that are all tied as the best. I don't have a favorite. Literally, like Billy Madison, Mr. D,
my favorite,
Boy,
Happy Gilmore or Billy Madison.
Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
Happy Gilmore's good. And then some of his recent, I like Click. The Click was a good film. He's just done it, but I know like he gets a bit trolled and, you know, just being a crappy actor and crappy storylines, but I love the films. I don't know. It's a bit of fun. That's my boy. I like that one. That was a more recent one, but yeah, they're just a bit of a laugh. Like, I guess that's a bit me as a person. Like, I'm a bit kind of laid back. I don't take things seriously. So maybe that's why I kind of connect with those films. But yeah, I don't watch really other movies. Like I've literally never watched a Marvel film. I don't get into any of that stuff. Anime, like superhero stuff. I don't do any of that. I'm more just sport. And music, I don't know. I feel like I work better with like visual stuff in the background, not like I'm watching it all times. But music, I just listen to American hip hop. So whatever's trendy at the time, I literally just So at the moment, it's like Post Malone and Drake. But when I was growing up, it definitely wasn't Post Malone and Drake. It was just I just seem to just listen to whatever's trendy. So yeah.
I like it. Do you think that what you watch or listen to influences your work while you're like, if you're listening to something while you're making like a Project 2020 card, do you think that it influences at all?
I think it might influence a bit because like it can get the creative juices going. And like, sometimes like it's hard to be like forced to do something with creative work. So like, a lot of my other work, like, stuff will be like, I got to deal with a lot of changes and people like, pushing their ideas my way. And I know they're like, even if they're a shit idea, I still got to do it. Like, so a lot of the times music will kind of like get you through that, like just keep you motivated sort of thing, like grind through it. Like, cause at the end of the day, like, I'm not going to like sit here and advocate like, oh, this is an amazing job. This is the best job in the world. Like, at the end, like it's got issues, like, it's got good days and bad days, just like any other field. So I think, yeah, definitely music and then also just like sport gets me through it. But then also sport actually helps me influence my work, and especially a lot, like I do a lot of personal pieces as well, just put stuff up because a lot of the client work I just don't share online, my sports work. I don't know, just because I don't like to flood everyone on my social media. I just kind of like to post a couple of times a week. So I think that the athletes themselves, like they're just my biggest inspiration. Like, someone like Russell Westbrook, like people might not like him because, he might seem a bit arrogant and selfish, what people want to say. But for me, like I'm more inspired by him than like a guy like LeBron, because like, Westbrook's like, he takes no days off. The same as like Damian Lillard, like he's out there playing 100% at all times. There's no load management. There's no like, whining to the referees. There's no like, sitting back, like not playing defense. Like these guys are playing 100% at all times. And that's why I love Kobe so much, because like he was just like that guy that was just like, and the same, Jordan's the same. Like I never grew up. I only started watching in 1999, so I only saw the Bulls Jordan, but now watching the Jordan docos and obviously seeing like the old stuff, like I just love the players that literally like just put all their heart and soul and then literally they're just playing for the fans at the end of the day. Like they don't want to let anyone down. So I'm inspired by that in my work. So I definitely, that's why I do like watching sport in the background. Lillard's having a huge game. He's dropping like 50. Like that, that might kind of help me, push through my day. So I definitely kind of do. It does help me.
Nice. So I guess that pretty much answers my next question, which was where do you pull from to keep your creative juices and your inspiration going?
Athletes, yeah, it's definitely the athletes. It might be like a strange answer to others, because other people might have inspiration from like a particular other artist or other designer or like a design style. But for me, it's the athletes. Like what I want is like, I don't like building like templated designs where like you could, have this cookie cutter approach where you could just put something in and you can just drop any player in and look nice. Like I would prefer, not all work allows me to do that, but from my personal choice, I'd prefer like an artwork to be personal to that player. So literally, if you saw that player would be proud to kind of take that, hang it up on their wall at home. Essentially, that's kind of how I like to view it as. So it's something personal to them, something their family would like relate to, stuff like that. So for me, it's definitely the athletes. They're literally like basically my only source of inspiration. Until now it's a little bit difficult with no sport on. And I'm definitely struggling through it at the moment. So But I'm just like watching a bunch of old footage and stuff like that. I mean, YouTube's great, and I guess like social media is just kind of flocked with old sporting games and stuff being re-aired and stuff like that. Like I've been watching a lot of the NBA stuff on Twitter. They're re-airing games, and yeah, I mean the athlete because in a way like the athletes are, you know, they're artists themselves. Like, you know, you look at like an Aaron Gordon in the dunk contest.
Mm-hmm.
He's an artist. Like, he's not just an athlete. Like, the stuff he's doing in the air, and the same with Jordan. Like back in the dunk contest in his day, like they're literally their creativity is in the air. So I mean, it's just wild to say.
Okay. So knowing that your earlier days on the road to your success were all about the grind and at points detrimental to your body and health, do you think that people coming up now are able to take into consideration like the time needed to sleep and do you think that they have that ability, or do you think that even people now like need to push through that grind like you did? What would you say to someone coming up now who's like, I'm going to follow the Tyson Beck method?
I mean, it's not, at the end of the day, it's not sustainable. Mm-hmm. Like, you can push through and grind, but like that grind mentality, it's not sustainable. So do it in your late teens, do it in your early 20s, but you do not want to be still doing it in your early 20s, I think I meant. So you don't want to be doing it in your 30s, your 40s, whatever, like 50s, 60s. Like, it's just not sustainable. So for me, it's like literally I did the grind mentality. I worked my ass off. I was working basically 2 full-time jobs, 80 to 100 hours a week, just saying no to any project. Having, like, when I first started, like, just doing full-time design jobs in my hometown in Adelaide. And then I'd work a 9 to 5 full-time design job in Adelaide. And then I'd come home and literally work from, I'd have tea or whatever, dinner, and then work from 6 a.m. till 3 a.m. and then wake up at like 8 a.m., get ready for work. So it was like I'm working, like that was literally like 365 days a year pretty much, like working like 18-hour days. It was just nuts. But for me, it's like I never not enjoyed it. Like I enjoyed doing it because I love design. I love what I'm able to do. And, but I've definitely teared back. Like I haven't worked like full-time design jobs in Adelaide for years now. I'm just doing it all sport, all myself. But I'm still kind of working quite a bit lately. But I definitely, I would not say like follow my path, do it. Like it definitely was a struggle, and it's a huge hurdle to overcome. But I mean, nobody knows their body better than themselves. So like if you feel like things are starting to, you're starting to struggle, like just stop. Like it's okay to say no to a project. It's okay to say no to a client. It's okay to take time off work. Like this whole like coronavirus stuff, this pandemic, the lockdown and everything. I'm seeing all these people like saying like, oh, if you're creative and you're not, you haven't picked up a new skill, or you haven't done, started a new business, or, done a new venture or something, like you've wasted your time. And it's just like, why does that have to be the mentality? Why can't people just use this time to actually have a break? Like, I don't think, at the end of the day, it's like, I'm not saying do this, do that. Like, I just think there's not a solution, and there's not a way of doing anything properly. I think it's up to the individual. So I definitely, if you want to do that grind mentality, like it helped me out. I definitely wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have my client base. I wouldn't have the success and opportunities that I had if I didn't grind. But it just was not sustainable. And especially now with like a child with my wife, like literally I can't be working all day and night. I gotta help out around the house. So just do it while you can. It's easier. You got less responsibilities when you're young. So yeah.
And then last question I'm going to pose to you is, who would be your dream client or dream project that like you would like to, it might not have to be like your grail project, like the project you're dying to get to do, but what's your next dream or your next step? Or if you want, what's your grail project?
Okay. Well, I've always said like I don't want to like be designing my whole life and making. I'd like to go back and start teaching people. So maybe like a university lecturer or something like that. I want to give back because like the end of the day is like how I started. You know, I studied at a college here, and it was just a horrible experience. Like, and it wasn't just me. Like the majority of people there, like it was just really bad. Like it was a graphic design course, but we're like doing no graphic design work. It was literally just like, you know, doing life drawings, like painting nude people and painting color wheels and doing darkroom photography. Like, and it's like, when would you ever need to do darkroom photography now? Like it just seemed to be a waste. And then when it went to the computer stuff, like that's what everyone wanted to learn, like how to use InDesign, how to use Illustrator, how to use Photoshop. They just weren't teaching us the right things. They literally were just throwing literally a textbook of like Photoshop for dummies. Like that's literally what happened. So for me, it was like I had a bad experience there. I ended up pulling out. I was like, I'm not going to waste a third year doing this. Like I'm learning nothing. I've already got clients. Like I'm freelancing. I don't need this. It's a waste of my time. So, and now I've heard so many other people have bad experiences. So I'm like, nah, there needs to be a better system where I live. I'm sure it's different in America. I'm sure it's different in other cities in Australia. But I would like to provide, even if it's like an online course, something when I get to that point, providing actually like a proper way of like how to teach people, like, because I know like that I've been in the industry this long now. I know the skills you need and the skills that are pointless teaching because you will never actually, you know, it might be handy to know, but you don't need it in practice. So I'd like to do that. I'd like to end doing that. I don't know how it's like. I know it's like, I don't want to be viewed as like, oh, like if I'm teaching people, like I think I'm better than people, but it's definitely not that. I just kind of want to be able to give back. And passion, or kind of like the Holy Grail project you mentioned was oh man. I honestly now with like it changes a lot. I know I always wanted to be like, I want to do something for like a Jordan shoe. That was like, I don't know why, like I don't even know what I'd do, but that was kind of just like I had a bucket list growing up, and that's the only thing that's left on my bucket list. It was just literally design a Jordan shoe. And I know that will never happen because I'm not a footwear designer. So I don't know, it's just a stupid thing that I put on a bucket list, but that's the only thing that I got left. But now with like the Project 2020 coming up, I feel like now I've just got this like fuel and desire to like do basketball cards, because I was like, I'm doing baseball cards, which are great because they're just so iconic and so cool. But now it's just like, I need to do basketball cards. Like there's like, it's just like got this like love and interest back in like how I collected when I was younger. And like I have actually done one card set. It was a Kobe Bryant hero versus villain. I designed that set. But that was just a Kobe set. Like it wasn't an actual broad NBA set. It was just like a limited edition kind of smaller series. So it'd be kind of pretty cool to do an NBA set, but I understand like, you know, it's not like the old days where like there'd be like 6 trading card companies making NBA stuff. Now it's Panini only. Panini's the only people that can make NBA cards under their current contract. So I understand those limitations, but who knows? Maybe they kind of see what's happening with Project 2020, and maybe they do a basketball one, and maybe they do a Project 2025 or something. I don't know, but it'd just be wild to see some of these basketball cards being remade.
Yeah, would be very that would be. Sorry, I don't know what just happened there.
Yeah, but something's going on.
Yeah. But anyway, I would be so excited if you did a basketball set of current players. My boyfriend collects Jordan, and we're the House of Jordans, but I collect mostly and pretty much only Luka Doncic. So, so if you did a current basketball set, I would freak out, and I'd be like, I need that 1 of 1. Like I need the Tyson Beck, Luka 1 of 1. So that's cool.
Hopefully it comes out. Hopefully, I mean, I've got. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Who really knows? I'm not exclusive to Tops. I'm not Like I've done stuff for Panini. I've done a lot of stuff for Panini Authentic, their memorabilia line. So I'm definitely not like contracted to Topps where like I can't work for Panini. I don't have that in my contract. So who knows? But I mean, I'd love to kind of remake old cards, or even put like the new players in old cards, like a Luka Doncic in like a, you know, like one of the old cards. So I think that would be cool as well. But yeah, I don't know. For me, basketball cards, that literally that's the holy grail.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Tyson, for
No
hanging with us. It was such a pleasure. If there's anything House of Jordans can ever do for you, please never hesitate. You are, like I said, our favorite designer of cards. We just like, we're so excited when I found out about Project 2020 from listeners. Like I don't follow baseball, so I didn't know it was happening. So I was late to the train. But when I found out, like I immediately scrolled through and I was like, oh, there he is. Okay, like I'm definitely paying attention to the set now.
I don't know if the last name on the list as well, because it was in alphabetical order of the first name. So it was just like, oh, so the last person on the list. So that was kind of cool. If you were scrolling down, it was a nice little surprise at the end of the list. But no, I really appreciate those kind comments. I mean, yeah, that's definitely humbling to hear, and very appreciative of the opportunity to jump on, speak to you. It's always good to kind of talk design, talk trading cards. Like it's just stuff like, you know, it's literally my life. It's like stuff that I enjoy and stuff that you enjoy. So it's kind of great to always have that conversation.
For sure. So thank you again. And if you could just say, like, listen to House of Jordans, I would appreciate it.
Okay. Listen to House of Jordans.
All right. Thank you so much.